Hey guys, Mysterion here. Sorry for not uploading on the Tuesday and stuff like that. I'm still getting used to my upload schedule at the moment. I have had so many assignments due for university. So I'm a double major student. I study finance and human resources. And you know what? On that topic, I thought, you know what? I'm going to tell you about tertiary education and my thoughts on it. Because why not? So, tertiary education, it's seen as, at least in society, a lot of the time, it's seen as sort of, the most important education, the best type of education you can get in Australia. And, my thoughts on that are mixed. I think that, tertiary education is good, depending on what you're doing, you know. I personally think that tertiary education is good if you're doing something that's actually going to get you a job. So for me, I study a Bachelor of Business. Now, what that allows me to do, it allows me to work in finance. So if I want to work in a bank, for instance, I can do that. If I want to manage investments for people, I can do that. But from a HR perspective, it enables me to, be a human resource manager, work with the unions, that type of thing. But my overall goal is to be an entrepreneur. But I go to university personally as a backup plan if business doesn't work out, and also, in the short term to work as an employee to, save money for a business loan, that type of thing. That's why I go to university myself. But, there are some degrees I don't really see the point of, going to university, right? Like, for example, you have a lot of arts degrees. Now, it really depends on what you're doing. Now, I think that an arts degree, and this is my opinion, if you disagree with me, please tell me in the comments. An arts degree is beneficial if it is to get you to another degree later on. Because, like for example, a postgraduate degree, which is a degree you do after a degree. Sounds like hell, right? But like, essentially, an arts degree can sort of progress you into doing that later degree you want to do. That's the type of path you're trying to take. Um, but other than that, I'm a little bit unsure about why people do arts. Maybe I'm ignorant. If you think I'm ignorant, tell me in the comments. But I don't see why doing majors like gender studies, for instance, is necessary. Or things like, criminal justice. I had a friend who did criminal justice, and he told me that he had to do sociology, and he absolutely despised it. I don't understand the point of doing sociology myself, but I'm a cynical business person. I don't know, but for me, it just doesn't seem necessary, because for me, I pay quite a lot of money to go to university. Sure, it's HECS debt, student debt, but, I see it as a debt, and it's very expensive to go to university in Australia. It's not to the level that I would say the United States is, but it is quite expensive. Like, I pay about $10,500 a year to university personally, and that's because of the degree type I do. Because I am in the same, place as people who do law, business, medicine, that type of thing. It's nuts, and I just think it's interesting, that they group costs with what type of degree you do. But yeah, I'm not sure if university is always the best option for people, because you have different types of learning. People are, some people are hands-on and some people are theory-based. Me personally, I'm much better at reading a book than I am at doing something hands-on. Like, for example, if I had to learn how to repair a car, I would do better reading about repairing that car rather than actually doing it and remembering it. It would take me quite a few times to remember it. So for me, I've always been a reader when it comes to learning stuff. Like, I'm the type of person that literally can read content and, understand the rules of it really quickly. Like, when I was in high school, I would, study the day before for a lot of my tests, specifically for legal studies, because I was always busy doing other stuff. And I would study the day before and freak out. And when I would freak out, I would calm down. I'd just read the stuff and memorize it. and I would end up getting like 90% like all the time. So I was very lucky. I don't know if the legal studies tests were just super easy, but yeah. But I think, TAFE is a good thing. If you're doing something that actually will get you a job, like people like plumbers, carpenters, mechanics, that stuff's good. I think it's good that, you know, that there are other types of education, and I just wish that in the world we live in, we would value them equally. I personally think that a lot of people view TAFE negatively. Like in high school, I remember I had a lot of friends who would say, "Oh, TAFE for drop kicks," that type of thing, and I would think to myself, not really. It's just really what you're interested in. That's more important in my perspective. I would honestly hate, personally, if I was forced to study, paramedicine, hypothetically, but I really wanted to be a plumber. I would think that's awful. I would think that it's a waste of money for me to be doing paramedicine if I really want to be a plumber. It's that type of thing. I chose finance because I'm really into investing and I'm really into money as a whole. I've always been a money person. I'm interested not in just earning it, but how it works, how I can use it to gain even more money, that type of thing. So that's why I like finance. But from a HR perspective, I'm also, I like talking to people, I like dealing with people a lot of the time. So that's why I like HR. But, university, it's really what you make it. If you're doing something that's actually going to get you a job, I think it's good that people go to university. So if you want to become a doctor, you want to become a lawyer, if you want to become a business person, those are good things to do in university. But I think when doing a degree, it should be something that's going to get you a job straight up, because otherwise it's a waste of time, unless it's to progress you somewhere else later. Because I know a lot of people with arts degrees and they're unemployed, or they're not really doing something that's earning them what it should be. Like $40,000 a year for 5 years of education in an arts degree or whatnot. I think that's just a waste of time and money, personally. But that's just my opinion on it. With university as well, the hard thing with look, it's interesting that universities have different policies as well. Like, for example, I was denied, to go overseas because, like, there was a wedding that I wanted to go to in Lebanon because I'm half Lebanese. And I was denied by my university to be able to go to that wedding on the basis that weddings are not considered important. Because I had an exam the same day as the wedding, and I literally went to, like, I don't even know. It was some office, right, for my university. And they said, a wedding isn't a good enough reason to miss your exam. And I think that's ridiculous, because I know I have a friend who goes to another university, and that university it's not as highly ranked as mine, but it's a decent university. And he was given 3 months off to go to Bosnia. To do whatever the hell he wants. He was telling me, I was drinking every night, I was having fun. And you know what? He took it off, and he was allowed to, and I wasn't. And I think that's ridiculous that I was not allowed to go to my family's wedding, and he was allowed to go to Bosnia to get drunk every day. That's stupid. And I think overall, as I've said before, university is what you make it. I think if university is something that you actually want to do, you should go to university if it's something that's actually going to lead to a greater result later. I wouldn't go to university just to impress your parents. I personally go to university because it allows me to meet people for business purposes, to make friends, and also, to give me a backup plan. That's literally the only reason I go to university. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably be a chef, to be honest. I've always been a fan of cooking and things like that. But yeah, that's just me, guys. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments on this topic. I'm just talking about it randomly. Please make sure to like, sub, and share. Have a great one.